Ever wondered where all the measurements we use came from? Here's a story about measurement. Part 1. The first measuring systems. We humans have been measuring things for tens of thousands of years in lots of different ways.
How tall was the lion? About 20 baboon heads. How far to the mountain?
2 sunrises. In summer, 3 in the winter.
How heavy's that?
About 2 dead pigs.
But when people started to live together in bigger groups, and towns, cities and civilizations grew, we had to invent ways of measuring that were the same for everyone, or farming, building and trading got very difficult. If you wanted to share food around equally, everyone needed to agree on how its weight would be measured, or people might get angry.
Here's your bag full of corn.
Thanks.
And here's your bag full of corn.
No fair.
And if you wanted to get lots of slaves to build you a palace, or some pyramids, everyone had to agree on how length would be measured, or the buildings wouldn't fit together.
I thought you said the door was 10 baboon heads high.
Yeah? Some of the first people that we know of to come up with one shared way of measuring things were the ancient Egyptians, who invented the Cubit about 5,000 years ago. This started off as the length of a forearm and a hand, but because no two bodies are exactly the same size, the Egyptians made a special rod out of metal, which they called the royal cubit. This royal cubit was kept very safe inside a temple, and people were given copies of it for completing the huge building works that made up Egyptian settlements. Many more societies came up with their own units of measurement. The Babylonians measured the weight of grains, water and oil using a cube called a gur, which was defined as the weight that a laden donkey could carry. The Romans invented the foot, which was based on the length of someone's foot, and they divided this into 12 uncia, which means a 12th part of something. It's where inches and ounces came from. They also came up with a pace, which was 2 marching steps, or 5 Roman feet, and the mile, which was 1,000 paces, mille passus. These measurements would stick around and eventually make their way all across Europe, but their exact length would change many times. But at the same time, thousands of different measurement systems emerged all around the world. On top of this, we all had different number systems too, so things got complicated when we started trading things. Even by the late Middle Ages, when the Arabic number system had spread from India across much of the Middle East and Europe, people still carried on using hundreds of thousands of different measuring systems, even in the same country. In England alone, weight might have been measured by cups, or sacks of grain, or buckets of water, or barrels, or pots. Length could have been measured in feet and miles for distance, in hands for height and width, which we still use to measure horses today. Length could also be measured in fathoms, the distance from fingertip to fingertip, which sailors used to measure the depth of the ocean. Or length could be measured in girths, the distance around someone's waist, which was used to measure fishing line. It seemed like for everything that could be measured, there was a different kind of measurement. Unlike switching to Arabic numerals, which made European people's lives easier immediately, it was much more simple for people to keep using the same measuring systems they were used to. It would only really benefit people if everyone agreed to change to the same measuring system, and this would require huge disruption. But about 230 years ago, in France, that disruption came. Watch part 2 to find out what happens next.